Hello there. What's going on, everybody? We've got ourselves a Darth Vader Operative preview from Fantasy Flight today. And while not a whole lot of this is going to be all new information, it is nice that we're getting the high-res pictures and we're kind of getting everything all clumped together. So I'm going to talk about that. Quick reminder that the promo giveaway is going to be announced, the winners this weekend. So make sure you are subscribed. Leave a comment automatically to enter to win this giveaway. And yeah, it's as simple as that. We've got 4 different winners we're going to have for our different promos, as well as 2 more winners for patrons. That if you want extra chances to win, Patreon, and if you want to help support us here on the channel, there's links in the description below for that. All right, that being said, let's go ahead and jump into our Darth Vader Operative expansion. Oh yes, this is almost like an early version of Darth Vader, almost an Anakin Skywalker. Maybe there was a little bit of good left in him. This is probably about the version that we see fight Ahsoka in Star Wars Rebels. And yeah, a different pose, and you can use this one in place of your other Darth Vader if you want to. However, it's always a good idea to bring the original model, the proper model for the version that you're playing, because if it comes down to it, it's really going to be at the TO's discretion, because rules as written, if we're going to the letter of the law, you're supposed to use the exact correct model, but 99.9% of the time, people aren't going to have a problem if you swap this out for the other Darth Vader, considering it's really not all that different. And, you know, I think the bigger chance is that if somebody using a Star Wars Celebration exclusive Vader might have more of a problem, because that one is grossly larger than the actual Darth Vader. And I think similar thing with the Essen Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're going to have some more problems with those really drastically different models. However, something like this, I don't see really any problem with it whatsoever. The cape is going to be billowing a little bit more, so you might have a harder time trying to like back him up against corners or walls or things like that. But it's a cool look, and I'm sure we'll see some very interesting paint jobs for this. Darth Vader is an easy starter model to paint. You know, you prime him in black, and you're almost ready to go. You know, so obviously there's a lot better finesse to some of the Vader paint jobs that we'll see. However, for a starter model, it's a real easy one. It's a very safe one to get started with. So we do see the new Vader spread here in the thing, and they're giving us 4 surge tokens, a dodge token, some damage, and of course an operative. Now, at first glance, it looked like they were only giving us 4 damage. We got the 3 and the 1, but there's another 1 on the right-hand side, so it has a maximum of 5 damage he can take before he's dead, and then that 6th damage will kill him. Only 6 health for this particular Vader, which is kind of a thing. But he's got 3 courage. So less courage, less health. Again, but generally a cheaper Vader. Not quite as cheap as he had seemed to be beforehand, because the original Darth Vader also got a points reduction recently. However, 170 is still kind of cheap. Now, he has a couple of changes from the Darth Vader that we're used to. Notably that he's cheaper. He's an operative, most significantly. His lightsaber has 1 less die. He's only going to have 5 dice. And he comes with a ranged attack built in. So now maybe all of a sudden you don't really have to go with saber throw, especially considering you've only got 2 force options and you've got a training option. So if you wanted to enhance his melee attacks with something like tenacity or something like that, you can totally do that to make up for the fact that he lost 1 die on his lightsaber. You know, and you can, that's an option. It's an option. I feel like you're paying, you know, you're putting an extra upgrade on there just to bring him back to kind of where he was before. And maybe you don't want to do that. Maybe you do want to consider saber throw because you'll still get the 3 dice. But yeah, he's got a bunch of interesting stuff here. So let's start at the top. He still has deflect. Again, deflect is if you spend a dodge while you're defending, you're going to gain surge for defense, because Vader has no surges. And then also you'll be able to do a damage to your attacker for every surge rolled. He is immune to pierce. He has the awesome Jedi Hunter keyword, which is real fun, because when he is going after another Jedi, and there's going to this, you know, this is one of those keywords that is not always that useful, but it's going to become more and more useful as the Clone Wars gets more and more expansions and we start to see more and more stuff. And I think this also means, you know, we need more videos talking about what kind of other Jedi can we really get, because while it's very obvious that we are going to probably see quite a few in the Republic, I think some of the other factions, kind of have us wondering, well, what else is there for us to see? He does have Master of the Force 1, similar to the other Vader. He also has Relentless, similar to the other Vader, which is after a move, he can do a free attack, and it can be melee or ranged, which is one of the reasons why Force Throw has always been so common on the previous version of Vader, and might still see some play on this version of Vader. He has Spur. Spur is a very, very important word for this particular iteration. It says, while performing a move, you may gain a suppression token to increase your maximum speed by 1. This is good for a number of reasons. First off, since this Vader does actually have a courage value, he is able to be suppressed, and such that, that one suppression token that he can now actually take will grant him light cover. So Vader may want to be using Spur quite a bit. This also means he could potentially do this twice within his activation and gain 2 suppression tokens for a 2 speed 2 moves. And you couple that with Relentless, you really have a very, very nasty little ninja that can move in there and mess things up. So I'm really pleased with that. So his lightsaber still has Impact 3 and Pierce 3. Another cool thing about giving him Saber Throw or something like that is now with fire support, you have a really cool way to make only a 3-dice attack from Vader become incredibly more interesting, especially if you take like the Mortars or somebody and toss in their fire support, and now you've got the critical keyword. Maybe you've got some, maybe you have also some surge tokens out on some of those units, and now you can end up adding like a whole bunch of extra dice to this attack pool that also has Impact 3 and Pierce 3. And so like it's really, really cool. Pierce 3 is kind of stinks if you're only rolling 3 dice, because if you just get a single blank, it just is so much opportunity lost. But if you find yourself with one of those opportunities where you can roll like 7 dice because of a fire support type thing that's contributing to a saber throw, well, now you have a really cool attack that's probably going to have a ton of penetration, even against armored vehicles too. So very, very cool there. Super happy to see this sort of thing happening. All right, so and now we also have Force Throw, which is the new one. It's a range 1 to 2, so short range. It's only 2 black dice, and it's got Blast and Scatter. So we know that Blast means it's going to ignore cover, which is helpful, especially for a small attack, which would completely get destroyed by any heavy cover. But it's also got Scatter. And Scatter says after you perform an attack against a small base trooper unit, you may place each defending non-leader mini in the defender's in cohesion. Basically it lets you re-cohesify the unit as if they had just moved. You can't place the leader, but you can place everybody else within cohesion. What this allows you really effectively to do is, if you can't quite get there to get in range and slice them with your lightsaber, now you can attack them with a smaller attack, and then after the attack is over, you get to pull all of them out and put them in, basically wherever you want. You can set them up for the follow-up attack. This is really good against a unit that's already gone, that now isn't going to be able to move again and kind of undo what you've just done. This is also really good when you have some stormtroopers that are ready to just completely unload into this unit, and now they're not going to get heavy cover because you just pulled them out into the middle of nowhere. It's also good for any other types of force abilities that maybe you have. Maybe you've got force choke on this particular type of unit. And they were just out of range of that, and now you can try to do that, because again, this force throw is range 2, and so if you got any range 1 stuff, you might be able to pull somebody close enough to you to put them possibly in range 1 of you, or in range 1 of other nasty people. If you feel like teaming up Vader and Palpatine, there's all kinds of other cool benefits to pulling people closer to kind of make up for Palpatine's shorter range of only having speed 1. So by pulling people close to you and then moving Palpatine forward, this guy can really assist his Emperor as well, which is super, super cool. And we also saw that we're basically getting one card that we're not getting with the Luke version, and that is going to be Fear, and that's going to say you gain Demoralize 1. After your rally step, an enemy unit at range 1 to 2 gains up to 1 suppression token. So of course this is a numerical value. If you were to stack Demoralize somehow, you would be able to give multiple suppression units, but it's only 1 enemy unit. And notice it says an enemy unit at range 1 and 2 gains 1 suppression token. So in theory, if you were to have Demoralize 3, you would only demoralize an enemy unit with 3 suppression tokens. That's the way I look at this. Of course, I'm not sure if that's exactly how it would end up working out, but I think that's the way it would work if you. Although I don't think anything else. I can't think of anything else that's giving demoralize right now, so I don't even think that's a problem we're gonna have to worry about for a while. We also got to look at Vader's command cards. Now we have kind of seen them all, from the live stream they did, but now we're getting, high-res versions of them, and that's really nice. So, Darkness Descends, amazing artwork here. This is that classic scene from Star Wars Rebels where Vader descended on his TIE Advanced, and this was honestly one of the coolest episodes of all of Star Wars Rebels, and one of the coolest moments in all of Star Wars. He's just flying down, standing on this thing like a boss, and this is actually a boss card to play because it's a 3-pip. Now, one note about command cards: you can use all of the Darth Vader command cards with Darth Vader. So if you want to run this Operative Darth Vader, and you also wanted to include the regular Darth Vader's command cards, you can do that. That's going to totally work. Of course, you would still need a regular commander, and then thus that commander would only really be able to issue standing orders if it came down to it. So you take some risk there. But you can include any command cards that say Darth Vader as long as you're still obeying the whole 2 1-pips, 2 2-pips, and 2 3-pips rule. So yeah, you can combine both. And I think maybe a more popular way in some cases will be to run Darth Vader as your commander, your Darth Vader commander version, and then run all 6 of the new command cards with him, because I think that's what I will plan to do a little bit more, at least at first, and see how that works, but we'll try them both. I really do enjoy playing Darth Vader. So this one you have to play right away. So this one says, when Darth Vader is issued an order, he gains 2 surge tokens. This card may be revealed at the start of the deployment unit's step. If it is, it must be selected during round 1. Darth Vader gains Infiltrate and Scout 1. And he must be deployed at the end of setup. So he's going last. You have to basically say, oh, by the way, guys, I'm doing this. Now, you don't have to reveal this one right away. This card may be revealed at the start of the deploy unit step. But of course, I think you want to. Otherwise, you'd probably be better off using a generic 3-pip just so you can issue out more orders. Because the only thing that this is going to do is it's going to give Vader 2 surge tokens. And while that's cool, I don't know if it's really all that great. It might be better off to be able to issue orders elsewhere. But then again, maybe you've designed a list that doesn't really need that. Like it's all stormtroopers, and so you don't really need to issue out orders. But yeah, Infiltrate and Scout 1 is going to be nice. Now, again, you're going last, so you're not going to be able to infiltrate that close to enemy units. But this is just a great ability. Infiltrate, if you've been playing with Jyn and Pathfinders, you've seen how good Infiltrate can be, especially for certain objectives where you can deploy, practically touching an objective token already, and you can try to claim it on round 1 and then just start booking it. Like, that's amazing if that works out that way. And even if he is a little bit too far away, he also gains Scout 1, which is treated as a standard move. And in theory, right, like if somebody was close enough to you, in theory, with your Scout 1, you would be able to attack somebody. However, that's the rules with Infiltrate. You got to deploy beyond range 3. So Scout 1 isn't going to... It's not going to give you a relentless, like an attack before the game starts. But that would be really cool. If you could potentially increase him up to Scout 3... and actually, maybe on advanced setup, I'm going to have to measure and see if he could get an attack off before the game starts. I don't think, even with a speed 2, then with a Scout 2, I still don't think that would get him enough to do that range 2 attack. But that would be something that would be really, really cool. So his 2-pip is Fear and Dead Men. While Darth Vader uses Deflect, the attacker suffers 1 wound for each blank result instead of each surge result. When an enemy unit at range 1 to 2 and in line of sight of Darth Vader activates, Darth Vader gains a dodge token. So this is kind of like his Hello There, where he's just going to go on a complete defensive, murdering spree. But it's... It factors in very much with, the infiltrating Darth Vader style that we saw in the 3-pip. I'm going to put him pretty far forward, so we're going to make up for the fact that Darth Vader is kind of slow, which is another reason why I think this would work good on Commander Vader, because we won't have Spur available on him, and he needs all the help he can get trying to get forward, so that's why a lot of people will put him on tanks. But this one, if you're already in the middle of enemy territory and you know everybody's shooting you, well, now you play this as your command card. Now, when you're going to... when you would go and activate, you're going to be able to deflect. And instead of on the surge tokens, you're going to deflect on the blanks, which there are more blanks than surges. So you have a better chance of actually doing damage back. And it basically means every damage that hits you also hits them, is basically what it boils down to. So that is pretty interesting. And he also gains a dodge token. Now, there's a hard cap to just how much damage you're going to actually be able to do this, unless, of course, you happen to have some medics nearby. That is something that would help him, survive a little bit longer and make better use out of this. But then I think a lot of times those people would say, wait, Vader's deflecting? I'm just going to shoot the medic. That's probably what I would do. It also gives him dodge tokens. And then we got Vader's Might, his one-pip. And again, all of these are only activating Darth Vader. So in true operative fashion, he's really only activating himself. He's not really concerned with leading troops. And that's kind of the theme you get from these cards. He's more concerned with just going in and being a super space ninja. So Darth Vader gains a free action. Choose another non-heavy unit at range 1 and place that unit on the battlefield within range 1 and height 1 of its current position. Then, if it's an enemy unit, roll a white defense die for each mini in the unit. That unit suffers 1 wound for each ink rolled. Ink I call basically any side with a print, so a block or a surge % rolled. So basically, you're forcing somebody to clamber, even if they might not have been able to anyway, even if they're not in base contact with something, which is really, really cool. There's like 2 different ways that you can do this, and while this one is cool, I'm not super sure if this one's worthy of being his one-pip. I almost feel like maybe this and the two-pip should have been reversed, because this is doing something totally new that we haven't seen before, but I just don't know if it's really one-pip worthy, because if you look at the Commander Vader's one-pip, it's so much better because he gets to activate a whole second time, which is amazing. And this one is just oh, you can push somebody. That's it. I mean, that's cool, but could it maybe at least start off with a dodge token or something like that? That would have been nice if he also, I just feel like this one's a little weak for a one-pip. But it is cool what it can do. So you can basically move stuff. You can move something away that maybe it's now on the other side of a wall. So now all of a sudden, it has no shot. You can, so you can. I think your battlefield is going to determine how powerful this is and the setup. So this one is more on that sliding scale. It could be supremely powerful, but then again, if you're playing on more of a flatter battlefield, it might not be very cool at all. So this one really, I think, is very more subjective to the way the battlefield looks. So it is cool art, though. I love the art that they're putting on these. And in this case, it looks like he's throwing an ATRT, getting it somewhere out of here, and he can do damage to it. So I guess it is a free attack. It would be good against a big unit of troopers because you get to roll a whole bunch of dice and then do damage to them, and it doesn't count as your attack. You can still attack and force choke. All right, guys. Well, that's all I got for you today. I want to thank you all so much for watching. I also want to thank my patrons. You guys are amazing. So definitely thank you so much for your support. And I want to thank you all. And as always, have a great day.